Ladies and gentlemen, as your numbers are pouring in, good to see everybody. Great to be here this evening. I'm Andrew Chee. I'm coming to you live from Toronto, Canada. And I've got the white bricks behind me. It's the Great White North. And we have a very special executive sales team member, one of our leaders that's been here since Genesis, as he liked to say, Mr. Kevin Buckman, who seems to be zooming in from a beach. Are you in Hawaii or Bali? What's up, Kevin?
How are you doing? How are you doing, Andrew?
Very good. Great to see everybody here. We've got folks from Charlotte, North Carolina in the house. What's up, Sherry? We've got Raleigh, a lot of North Carolina popping on here, which is good because we expect to see, especially all of the North Carolina folks at our international convention. We've got Atlanta, Minnesota. We've got hi from Malaysia. Kevin, you're bringing in fans from everywhere. But folks, thanks for joining us this evening. Can you believe we are now, approaching July in 2022? So we're coming in for a landing with our Master UFO Action Plan and 53 Challenge webinar series for this quarter, and one of the big topics that I always look forward to, which I'm really glad we get the opportunity to chat with Kevin about tonight, is about growing leadership. By now, you should have already, gotten accustomed to submitting your weekly accountability reports. I trust that, and I just love seeing everybody's names going up on the 53 Challenge leaderboards. And you may have already sponsored a couple of people into your group, and you have an organization that's moving and shaking and growing. And so we figured this is a great time for us to get together, right, Kevin, and talk a little bit about growing leadership, becoming a leader, and seeking a leader. So Kevin, we're looking forward to this discussion this evening. Can you walk us through some of your key takeaways and key points about growing leadership?
Andrew, this topic is really my favorite topic, and the real reason it's my favorite topic is simply, our success as an unfranchised owner, and building a successful unfranchised that's going to provide us, for a period of time. It's imperative that we develop and grow as a leader. Okay, and what I find a lot of times, there's that age-old cliche, are leaders born, or are they made, or they born? And I'm a firm believer that they're made. Okay, they're not born, they're made. And but the success, but it requires us to become leaders. All right, we have to be a leader, and I want to really get into that. Because we have to. Success centers around us being able to perform 4 fundamental activities. Okay, we have to get a large number of people all, performing key fundamental activities on a consistent basis. And everybody knows it's just human nature, whether it be a diet, whether it be working out, whether it be quitting, smoking, dropping a bad habit, creating a good habit. It's very it all has to do with doing something over and over and over and over. And it's just human nature. It's very tough to stay on the wagon, if you will, or stay in the rhythm. And it all boils down to 4 basic fundamental activities. Use the products and programs we represent, as an unfranchised owner, okay, and as an ultimate end consumer ourselves. We have to use the products and the programs, that we represent. The second activity is we've got to sell the products and programs we represent. The third activity is we need to participate in expanding our sales and distribution teams. Okay. Again, creating that leverage, 1% of 100 people's efforts versus, relying solely on 100% of one person's effort.
Right.
And then to do that, it's all about getting people educated. Okay. We have to get our teammates educated, members of our sales and distribution team.
Right.
These are the 4 things that have to happen.
Right. And team, like, if you haven't already noticed, everything that we submit on the weekly accountability report revolves around these 4 things. And I really love that focus that what this 53 challenge and what the MUFO action plan has been doing for us. It's just it's so simple. We're trying to keep it focused.
And those tasks and activities that are, in the weekly accountability report in the back office, everybody's, you've heard of the Pareto principle. Okay. 20% of your people generate 80% of your results.
Right.
But the other thing another aspect of the Pareto principle is 20% of your activities, 20% of the tasks and activities performed by an organization create 80% of the results. And, it's one thing to identify your 20%ers people-wise, but it's another thing to identify the 20% of the tasks and activities that generate 80% of your results. And that has been done for all of us. Okay. The 20% of the activities that generate 80% of our results are found in the weekly accountability report.
Yeah.
So when we talk about leadership, okay, let's, come up with a definition. We got to have a definition. All right. And, let me just back this up. Okay. Trying to move my face out of this slide. Okay. But the thing is, it's a very simple definition. It's the ability of an individual or group of individuals to influence and guide followers or other members of an organization. Now, when you look at that definition, that means that every single one of us has some kind of influence on anybody we associate with.
Right.
I mean, you tend to be like the people you hang out with.
That's true.
You have a tendency to be like the people you associate with. Okay. A lot of the things about, and the reason that is all the people that are in that association or in that scope or that sample population that we're speaking of, whether they realize it or not, or whether you realize it or not, there is influence going on. That's really why when you've got people that are committed and focused and doing the same thing, okay, you don't want to dilute that energy, that excitement, that enthusiasm, okay, that commitment, okay, that spirit. You don't want to dilute it with people that are not on the same page. You see? And it's like, well, do I want new people to come in and be part of the 20%ers? Absolutely. But I also, at the same time, as a leader, you've got to watch, because you don't want them to be diluted. Okay. Bringing that level down, because whether you realize or not, you may not look at them as our traditional way of a leader, as far as they're out in front telling people what to do. Let's do this. No, they can influence people by doing nothing.
Oh, that's a big one.
Let me tell you something. That's the other thing. I mean, if I've got a brand new unfranchised owner, a brand new business partner in the business, I'm going to meetings, I'm going to trainings with them.
Leading by example.
Well, not only do I want to lead by example to stress the importance and the value of attaining the knowledge and securing knowledge, but what I want to do is I want to make sure that that person doesn't go by themselves and sit by somebody says, yeah, I've been in the business for 11 years and I'm an executive coordinator. Don't you love, I don't want that. Okay. You got to be careful, so that's why you've got to go with them. Okay. You got to make sure that they're associating, okay, with people that you want them to associate with. So that's it's critical, because the reason I emphasize this is because a lot of people tend to look at leadership solely by, who's out front. Okay. There's a lot of good people out front. I'm worried about the people in the back.
Right. Right.
and how they may be influencing.
Mhm.
But leadership, when we think about the ones out front, and it involves making sound, sometimes difficult decisions. Okay. As a leader, you can't worry about being popular.
Hmm.
Okay. It's not a popular, a lot of times people want to, not make people mad at them. Why?
Right.
They want to tell them what they want to hear. Okay.
Right.
There's this old state. I was doing a meeting after meeting with Amber and Yang's group, the other day, Chinese boot camp. And the thing is, strong people make weak people. Strong people make weak people. Ultimately, they make weak people.
Mhm.
Okay. And it takes weak people to ultimately make strong people.
It's a cycle.
It's a cycle. And so the thing is we've got to be careful, and what I said was, and we all have a tendency to do it, as just like parents. We have a tendency to want to make it easier for our kids. We want to make it easier. We don't want to make it as we, and so what we end up doing, whether we realize or not, we start to lower the bar. We lower the bar, we lower the expectations to the point where, it's like I should be rewarded for showing up.
Right. The crazy thing about this, Kevin, is that it happens subconsciously. Like
Exactly.
that's so scary, like to think about. Yeah.
You don't. When I think about the business, 30 years. Okay, and I talk to people about the next chapter. Okay, people say, well, what is the next chapter? Okay, we got the T-shirts, we got this. What is the next chapter? Well, the next chapter, for me, okay, in my opinion, is the next chapter is going to be written by all of us that are here today. Right. We will write the next chapter.
Right.
I really believe to write the next chapter and the subsequent chapters and make them go where we want them to go. I think we need to reread the first chapter.
Right.
And I say that because, to get where we got, okay, you had to have a lot of spine. You had to have backbone. You had to have hanging power, okay? Because the challenges that were experienced along the way created strong people, okay? And whoever survived, they were tough. Okay, right. They went through a lot of tough times. Okay, then when you get there, you have a tendency to do what? Make it easier for the people that follow.
Right.
Okay? And the thing is we've looked for, before we had like 3 or 4, 5, 6 good products. Next thing you know, we got thousands of products. We got an affiliate program. We got e-commerce. You couldn't even write a check. Okay,
natural progression, like it's
and it's just like anything else. So as a leader, you've got to, you need to be conscious of this. Okay, and it's somewhere, you got to be striking that balance. Okay,
yeah.
So but it requires creating, articulating, and clear vision. I talk to people all the time. The toughest thing that I find in the 30 and now for me in the business is. And that's why I love to go to meetings. I love to go to trainings. I love to go to seminars, conventions, leadership schools, and just see the presentation stuff, is because the hardest thing for me is I learn something all the time. Learn something. I've never been to a meeting or a training I didn't learn something. And one of the toughest things is trying to find a way to say the same thing after 30 years. Okay. In other words, I'm always looking, I'm like a sponge. I'm looking for a different perspective, a different way to say the same thing, because it is the same thing. You can't change the truth,
right.
But you're always trying to find a different way something that will resonate, like, with somebody that, you haven't gotten the point across to. But see, that's tough because you have to articulate. I'm always looking, how do I paint, different brush strokes, if you will, if you create like a vision, or a painting or something, or a picture. Okay. What, different lighting, how can you do it to, get the point across, to many people? Because it's saying one way doesn't necessarily resonate with everybody. Right. Okay. Same message. You know, and as a leader, we have to achieve, you know, we have to establish achievable goals, okay? Not just for ourselves and our team, but we need to really take a next step. We got to make sure that our team members' goals are in alignment with your goals and the team's goals, okay? Because there's got to be that parallel, okay? You know, so that everybody knows what's in it for them,
Right.
as an individual, and they also know what's in it for the entire team, and how if everybody does what they're supposed to do as an individual and member of that team, how the team
Right.
benefits, each individual benefits exponentially from the team. So that's where the leader comes in, to make sure that you know, the goals and objectives are in alignment.
Right. So a couple of takeaways that I heard from what you were just saying is it comes down to leadership as influence. And I think John C. Maxwell also said that leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. But I really love the fact that you said even doing nothing is influencing others and around you. And the other big takeaway is you know, it's not just about what influence you have on others, but also keeping an eye out on what influence others are getting from other people or other environments, and making sure that you're protecting that environment to make it as healthy as possible for your teammates to grow. Yeah, and you know, those are some big points that I got from what you just said.
Right. And then the other thing is, you know, it's our job as a leader to provide the environment, okay? Provide the environment, you know, and the tools necessary for our teammates to, you know, achieve their goals and the team's goals, you know. And that's where the GMTSS comes in, okay?
Right.
That's where the tickets come in. All right. You know, it's like you heard me say this, you know, you heard me say this in Malaysia. You heard me say this in Singapore. You know, I need everybody to buy 3 tickets. Okay. I don't want your money. I don't need your money. That's not why I'm telling you to buy 3 tickets. I'm telling you to buy 3 tickets because I need your commitment.
That's right.
I need a demonstration that you believe not just in the model, but you believe in yourself enough that you're going to apply what what knowledge you gain from this weekend.
Right.
And you're going to use it. But I need to see a demonstration that you're going to be at the next, you know.
Right. And that commitment and that demonstration helps create strong leaders like at the next level.
And so, you know, and that's where it comes in. I have to do what I can do to get them to, you know, obtain the knowledge necessary to better sell our products, goods, and services, and better expose, our business model, you know, to those that might have a potential need for it.
That's so good.
You know, so leaders, you know, they know how to inspire people, get followers to complete the tasks and activities, you know, necessary to achieve not only their goals as individuals, but the team's goals as well.
Right. And one thing that comes to mind, like as I was reading that third point you have on there, is, you know, one of the leaders that have inspired me was Dennis Franks. And I remember him saying at a seminar, like I think we were going through Q&A, and we asked him, you know, what do you think your biggest strengths are? And he had said, well, one of my biggest strengths is I have the ability, and this is not word for word, but he says, I have the ability to make people do what they're supposed to do, not because I want them to do it, but because they want to do it. And I think, you know, that really creates like a strong leader, get people to take action, to move forward and do the things that they need to do for themselves. And we see a lot of that, a lot of need for that, of having that skill in our business and leading our organization.
Well, that's one of the biggest challenges of our model, okay, in our industry. You got to realize, you know, this is a volunteer business. You as a leader, you have no financial leverage, you know, with your sales and distribution team. Each one of those individuals is there as a volunteer, okay? Right. it's not like I'm going to dock your pay if you don't pick up the phone and call 7 people this week. Okay. Or you're not going to, that's something where, as we develop and grow, as we become, better and better leaders, we grow personally. And that's why you see a lot of people change, a lot of people grow personally in this business. The personal growth is phenomenal. Of course, the money growth and the pin level and all that kind of stuff. But the growth that I've seen, I've got a pretty good perspective, 30 years, to see the growth and development personally in many, 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 many unfranchised owners over the past 30 years. It's really, it's the type of thing that you get goosebumps at.
You've seen it all. You've talked to, I really enjoyed in the past, we've discussed about the 4 stages that a UFO goes through. I think I want everybody to pay attention to this next couple of slides, because I think you'd be able to relate. And also, as Kevin is going through this stuff, try to identify which stage you're at personally. So just keep that in the back of your mind. Kevin, I really enjoyed this segment.
Because I call it the leadership quadrant. I just draw, X with 4 little sections, and basically you start off here. It's tell, sell, demonstrate, delegate. Okay. And then over the years, again, I'm always trying to search, how do I say the same thing, okay, a different way? So, I've talked about now the 4 stages that a UFO goes through. Okay. It's very similar to tell, sell, demonstrate, and delegate, but it's, the 4 different stages is because we're moving from dependence to independence. Okay. You don't want your team dependent on you, but you have to, you have to satisfy that role as the leader. Okay, until such time as you have people that can come in and take over those responsibilities. Okay, because you don't want to be the issue forever. Okay, you don't want, there's the old saying, the person that, holds the marker makes the money, and the person that hands the marker off enjoys the lifestyle. And you want somebody else to hold the marker is what you really want. Right. That's what your ultimate goal and objective is. Right. But the 4 stages, each of these 4 stages, demonstrates a different combination of competence and commitment. Okay. And I'm going to tell you, every single unfranchised owner, including J.R. Ridinger, okay, including Dennis Franks, including, Elizabeth Weber, Frank Kiefer, Joanne Chee, I can go on and on and on, including Kevin Buckman, okay. We have all been through all 4 of these stages. And what I want to share with you is, at any given time, okay, it's not something like you go to 1, 2, 3, 4 and you've graduated and you're been there, done that, got the t-shirt. Okay. It doesn't work that way. You may go through all 4 and be doing everything, and all of a sudden things are just, you run into some challenges, setbacks, whatever, and you go back to being into, stage 2. Mm-hmm. And then you're sitting there and everything. So stage 2, you may just become dormant, right, and do nothing. Then all of a sudden something hits, and man, you're ready to recommit. I'm sick of sitting around. I'm going to get back in. I'm going to put my big boy panties on, and I'm going to get back into the game, and I'm going to do something. Now you're back to stage 1. You're an enthusiastic beginner. Okay. But I just want to share with everybody that these stages, okay, are important, because when you become a leader, you have to be able to identify the person that you're leading, the person that you're coaching, mentoring, teach. You gotta be able to identify where are they. And by the same token, that's for being a leader. But when you're seeking a leader, when you're looking for a leader, when you're looking for that role model, when you're looking for that mentor, when you're looking for, that someone that you want to be like and you want your team members to be like. Okay. When you're seeking that, you have to know where you're at. Okay. Mm-hmm. Because that helps identify what you need.
Right.
You see? Right. So we're going to go through all 4 of these quickly. But one thing everybody needs to understand is one of the biggest mistakes, and one of the biggest mistakes we all make is that we mistake our confidence in, with competence.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Or we get a brand new person. Oh man, I got the next Elizabeth Weber. She's going to kill it. If she knows it, boom, boom, boom. And then we just turn her loose. Go get them type. And all of a sudden, next thing you know, she has some success. Everything looks great. And it's like, you think it's on autopilot. Next thing you know, she's disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
Because what we did was we mistook that confidence for competence. We all have to learn. We all need to learn. Okay, and but it's something that we've all done. We just send them out there, or we enter out there. We get out into the street without knowing the rules of the road. Next thing we get run over.
Right.
So you need to know the difference between naive confidence and demonstrated competence. It's very simple. Okay. If you think you can do it, that's confidence. If you do it, that's competence. And so that's why it's very important, going back to why you need to lead by example. You need to work the business with your people. The real learning does not go on in a cognitive setting, in a classroom.
Right.
You learn what, you learn why, okay? And you get a little outline of how, but you don't really learn. You don't really learn until you're doing it, okay? And that's where it comes in. But you as a leader, or when you're seeking somebody to be a leader, if somebody's going to participate in those activities with you, so you can model, you can observe, okay? Right. You can visualize.
Right. So the takeaway is do something, right? I read somewhere earlier today saying that doing something for 20 minutes is better than thinking of something for 20 days. And it's true. You think about it, it could be and all that is if you're thinking positively, and all that is, it's confidence. But if you actually do it, then the experience that you get, your nails dirty, that's competence right there. And that's what needs leadership.
And that goes back to, when I made the statement, when we do the 90-day MUFO action plan in Asia, okay, we're going to embark. This third quarter will be the 12th quarter in a row. Okay, 12 consecutive quarters without stopping in every Asia market. And one of the prerequisites to even participate, okay, is what? You cannot participate as an individual. There's no power in one. And there's no learning. You got to participate with a team of 3 or more. But the thing is you need to have a team to work with. You've heard JR say this over and over. You got to work it with somebody, okay? And because you can feed off of one another, you need one another. Okay, you can learn from one another. So that's one of why the prerequisite, and it carried over. The 53 challenge. You got to have a team of 3,
minimum of 3. Yeah,
minimum. Okay, so to get where you're going, of course, you got to know where you're at. And in other words, to get where you're going, you need to know where you're at. As when you're seeking a leader, what do I need? What stage am I in?
Right.
If I'm being a leader, what stage are my people in? What my team members? Okay. So these are the 4 quadrants. Okay. Now let's take a look at each one. Okay. Quadrant 1, you're enthusiastic beginner. I think we all, think about it. The day we established our own franchise probably was the most excitement, most enthusiasm, most energy, most everything we had. I mean, we were like ready to go tear it up. We were so pumped. Okay. And that we all were there. Enthusiastic beginner, the individual's excited about doing something, but we have very little knowledge of what to do. I remember I was so excited, so pumped, everything, like May 30th, 1992, man, I couldn't even sleep. I got home, took a shower, waited around. Okay. Wanted to go into the plant and talk to everybody I could, what Janice had showed me the night before. I was excited, crazy, but I never heard of Amway. I didn't know anything about direct sales or networking. I didn't know what to do. So I just went in and threw up all over everybody, you know? And, I got 20 no's like within 20 minutes.
You mean to say that happened to you too?
Yeah, yeah. But the thing is, so I had very little knowledge about it, but I was very confident that I could do this, but I was very incompetent. Okay. So, when you have someone at this level or you're at this level, you need high direction and low support. I don't need the pat on the back. I don't need, that, somebody say, hey, if you do this, come on, you go do it. No, I'm ready to do something. Just tell me a point. Tell me what to do. Tell me what to do. And, so there's directing, telling what we do, because you're in the very beginning, you've got that person, that partner is already motivated. They're already motivated, at least motivated enough to write a $500, $600 check to establish, their business. Okay. So there's motive, but don't mistake the confidence for the competence. Right. And some of these people, they'll sign people up and they're hoping they're just going to they're playing the lottery. It's just like, I'm just going to try to sign as many people up, play the lottery. Maybe I'll get lucky and find somebody that's willing to do what I'm not willing to do. Right. Meaning the tasks and activities associated. Maybe I'll get lucky and find a Weber on one leg and put a Joanne Chee on the other. And,
that's the dream.
I got news for you. Not likely.
Not likely.
Okay. So then what happens is, once we get there, all of a sudden it's like, man, everybody's going to do this. I mean, this is a no-brainer, man. All you got to do, if you can count to two, your left from your right, and you can read a fund drive, billboard, you can figure this out. That's how I looked at it. It was amazing. And so I went and I talked the first 20 people. I got 20 no's, and they weren't even polite no's. Okay. And I'm like, scratching my head and, thinking, what's wrong? Why can't people just see this? Not even if I could get to show it to them, they wouldn't even let me. Most of them wouldn't even let me show it. It's like, get away from me.
Right.
Yeah.
So
soon after beginning, an individual commonly experienced what we call reality shock, to some degree. And that's the reality shock is the difference between what I expected and what I got. Mm-hmm. What was reality. And so even though, the disillusioned learner, they know more than when they started. I learned a lot in those first 20 no's. Okay.
Right.
But my excitement, I'll be honest with you, and I think everybody would say the same thing. When you get that first reality shock, all of a sudden the enthusiasm starts to come back, be dialed back, if you will. Okay. Mm-hmm. It decreases. And at this point, that unfranchised owner, okay, I needed high direction and high support. Okay. And that's, I tell a story. I got this call, even then I got to be like a shark. Man, I'm gonna tell you right now, I signed up like 59, 60 people. I was a machine, and they were quitting, and the BV was minusing out, and I flushed, I think, twice, and I purged along the way, and it was and I get this call, left a message, JR. I never even met him, get this call, it's a 305, I remember my wife took it and she, wrote it down, it's 305, some guy named JR called. I said, what are you calling me for? She goes, I don't know. He says, I said, well, what? She goes, I think it's that Avon thing you're doing. And I'm like, because she used to call me the Avon lady. Yeah, even I didn't get support. Okay. So the thing is I needed that high direction, high support. And I remember that's when he called and he said, look, you and Dan, I'm going to come up there. I need to talk to you guys. I want to teach you about what you need to do and what you need to teach your remaining team members. Okay. Mm-hmm. And that's when we had the first Basic 5 training.
The original Basic 5.
Original Basic 5 training. Okay. We had this big event all set up. I think we were supposed to have 600 people. Vince Papali was going to come and MC it and everything. We had balloons, and it was like a modern day local. Okay. And 5 people showed up.
That's it.
So we were a little disillusioned,
Right.
okay? But JR was there to step up, coaching us, selling us on, hey, we're just going to keep on moving on, keep on keeping on, explaining, why we had to do certain things. And, it ended up, he helped, he really provided that direction and provided that support,
Right.
so.
And real quick for all of our viewers on here right now, or if you're watching the replay, this is a good time to take note. Like if you haven't heard if you haven't heard the original Basic Five, you can find it on your Unfranchised Business app under Unfranchised Media. Or if you've heard it already, this is a great time, a great point to re-listen to it, because it really changes the perspective knowing how that was set up.
Yeah, it was, but the point, and then over time, a long period of time, I got to emphasize, you're gonna get disillusioned. Then you're gonna be, you're gonna go through all four stages, and then you're gonna revisit some of those stages.
Right.
Again, it's not something you go through 1, 2, 3, 4, and then never, see them again, or you're always a 4. No, you're not. You will always, because things change. Okay, the business is dynamic. All right. Let's take a look at the third stage. Okay. This is the capable but cautious performer. Okay. So I was capable. I got to the point where I was capable, but man, I was scarred. I was scarred from the 20 no's. I was scarred from the 59 out of 60 people that quit, that I, had sponsored. So, but I had moved on. I had learned, and I could show the plan. I could, sell product. I could do, whatever. But I was a capable but cautious performer, because I did have some psychological scars for when I was a disillusioned. Okay, when I was disillusioned. Okay, so it's not you forgive, but you don't forget. So, but you learn from it, and it makes you, and you grow, and you become stronger. And most of these individuals, they enter the stage. They have some self-doubt, maybe doubt about, I'm not so sure. Okay. They're capable, but they're cautious. They're capable of cautious. Should I buy those 30 tickets or not?
Right.
Should I buy those 30 tickets he asked me to buy, or should I not? I'm a little cautious, So, and you start to, think about before you just go into it, because you're not there yet. Okay. In other words, you're pumping and you're seeing some water, but it ain't gushing. You know what I mean? It's the pump ain't primed yet, but you do see water coming out. You're getting results. They know how, this capable performer, they know how to do the task and activity, but they're nervous about doing it by themselves. Okay. And that's where it comes in. I can remember, we were scarred. Dennis and I were scarred, but I mean, we started doing, second looks, what we call UBPs now. And, we were attached because we needed each other. Because we were cautious.
Right.
And that's why I'm adamant. 3 people. Got it. You got to have a team. You're going to need those people, and you teach one another what to do. Okay. And what not to do. Okay.
That is so important. I remember, my sponsor had started the business not too long before me, but and so we were sort of growing and learning together. What he knew, I kind of was learning at the same time. So there was nothing, knowledge wise that he could have taught me more than the audios or the GMTSS. But one thing that my sponsor was really good about was that he was there. He was somebody that we could do meetings with. We didn't care if it was for my organization, his other organization. It was all we needed each other, and this really reminded me of that's it. If anyone here on this call is feeling, look, I feel like I know how to show the plan. I'm not saying the wrong things, but things just aren't going fast enough. They're still, taking it a little slow. Maybe the answer is get somebody that can work closely with you and do everything together at this point. It is a different type of appointment, when you have capable but cautious people doing it together.
You want to work with someone, whether, I don't care whether it's a new business partner that's just come in, but you will find that support, that high support from people that may have only been in the business a week. But you'd be provide, because people you'd be amazed where you get what you need and where it comes from. But the thing is, and at the same time, you're teaching them the business, okay? Because you know what to do. You can perform the tasks and activities. You need to teach them how to do it. But what they give you is that high support needed. Yeah. I remember one time Dennis said, if it weren't for you, he's sitting in the driveway. He knew the business. He knew the industry. He was great at providing me that, he didn't need any direction, but he needed high support. I remember him saying, man, he says, I'm so glad, you've hung in here with me. He says, I don't know, think if it had, you need each other.
Right.
Okay. And forget about senior, junior partners, cross-line mentor, it's all about, you got to get what you got to get in order to get, you got to get through it in order to get to it. Right. And whatever you need to get through it, you go find it. Okay. Right. In order to get to it. So it requires, you're supporting here, you're demonstrating here, you're modeling, and you're leading by example, and the more you do it, the better you're going to get at it.
Love it.
Okay. Now let's go to the fourth stage: self-reliant achiever, peak performer. Okay. This person, you've gone through all the stages. You've gone to meetings, trainings, seminars. You don't miss the events. It's funny, every single very successful unfranchised owner that I've seen in 30 years, they all have one thing in common. One thing in common. They all have one thing in common. They never miss a local seminar, a convention, leadership school, international world conference. Okay. They always they never miss them. Mm-hmm. Because they know that they're always you're going to acquire knowledge. Okay. Right. And at the same time, they're demonstrating to their team the importance of acquiring that knowledge. And they also have they have a strong why. Okay. To be a peak performer, you got to have a strong why. You got to have that thing that inspires you, motivates you, okay, to persevere. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that you will persistently and consistently perform the result producing activities already identified for you. Okay, but you need that inspiration, that motivation, and that's going to come from within. You identify that, but your senior partner, your mentors, okay, what we want duplicated. All right, goal statement development, setting goals, okay, qualifying them, quantifying them. Okay, this is something that's necessary. We need to do this before we do anything. Okay, in the business, I want them to have identify what inspires them, what's going to motivate them, what is it they truly want, no matter or what they want to avoid, because that's what's going to then you're going to retail, you're going to prospect, qualify, sponsor, you're going to do the follow-up. Maybe you'll do whatever it takes, but you got to have that motivation, and that true motivation comes from within. It doesn't come externally. Okay. Right. And by going to the meetings, trainings, seminars, you get the proper direction in the result producing activities. You're coachable, and I don't care how long you're in business. I don't care what your pin level is. You can always learn something. Anybody thinks that, they know it all. Okay. They're full of crap. Okay. Right. They don't, because let me tell you what, in this business, you will learn something that will make you better with every single meeting, training, or event that you participate in.
Yeah, another thing inspiring, about watching our leadership, like at the company, or watching you, Kevin, is folks, if Kevin Buckman can continue to learn something at every event, we've got a long way to go, and we can continue to learn something at every event. So that, I've seen that up close. You're always in the front row, always learning.
Well, I mean, that not only you're in a constant state of growing. Okay. Yeah. Anybody thinks there's no room to grow and be better, then, not good things are going to happen. Okay. But the thing is if we always talk about leading by, we want to, well, first of all, we want to perform the result independently. I want people, I want that teammate. Okay. I want them to be able to prospect, qualify, sponsor. In other words, have that confidence, because again, I don't want to be the issue. I want them to be the issue, but I want to develop that tier of leadership. Okay. Your long-term success of your business is going to be based on how well you create tiers of leadership. Okay. That are going to be able to lead your teams. Okay. Remember, your team. Right. So that's key. I always tell people your first two business goals and your first business goal and objective ultimately should have one person on the left of a BDC and one person to the right of the BDC making more money in the business than you. That's what you should strive for.
That's it.
Because let me tell you what, if you've got multiple people in each leg making more money than you, that leg's in good shape.
Isn't that such a beautiful, thing to strive for, and it is done by design of the compensation plan.
It is. It's phenomenal. That's the first thing I saw when I first saw it, and Dennis showed it to me. But the other thing is, we heard that you got to lead by example, lead by example, lead by example. But before you can lead by example, you've got to set the example.
Right.
You have to set the example. Right, in order to lead by example. So what seeking a leader is all about is about finding that individual that you want to be like, and then do those things to set the example so you can lead your people by example.
Right.
Okay? Now in this stage, low direction, low support. Okay, we basically have that independent master and franchise owner. Okay, right. Can actually work the business.
Yeah. Okay. And, if I could add one thing, like it says there, low direction, low support, not no direction, no support.
Yeah. No, remember what I said, low direction, low support. Yeah. Okay. You're always working with your 20 percenters. I don't care if you've got your 20 percenters are all directors. Okay. Yeah. You're still working with your 20 percenters. Yeah. Okay. I always have this thing, you invest 80% of your time into 20% of your people and 20% of your time into 80% of your people.
Right. And, an example of this could be, your quadrant 4 leaders in your organization, they may already know what to do and may already are, taking action. But one thing that we can provide to them is, is somebody to discuss ideas with, some stuff to throw, some ideas to throw on the wall. And they really just want to be heard. And so what I would avoid in this situation is I'd watch how many times if I'm communicating with one of my quadrant 4 people, I'd watch my questions to statements ratio. And I want to make sure that I'm asking them more questions that I am stating statements and telling them they should do something. But really, getting them to talk about what's working and it really helps boost their confidence and keeps their morale up. So something to keep in mind, I feel. Does that sound accurate, Kevin?
What you want to do with the 20, what you want to do is you want to use their knowledge, their skills that they've developed and everything, because they're now independent peak performers. And the thing is what you want to really, the topics for those discussions should be, okay, what are challenges that we're all experiencing? What are we're currently experiencing? And then come up with you've got a group that, okay, let's look to see what we've got to do to overcome those challenges as a team so that all of us can, utilize maybe some of the things that were created there. And by the same token, okay, what's really working for each and every one of you that you would like to, because you want them to contribute. What's working, okay? Because it's all about creating success.
Right.
And the more people, and I don't really impede, and as a leader, you got to get into this mind. It doesn't matter what line of sponsorship it comes from. Okay. What's important is success. I don't care if I'm working with someone that is not in my line. I still want them to be successful, because the more success we have, regardless of the line of sponsorship, the more validating it is for my members of my line of sponsorship. Okay. Right. You see, so when people are succeeding going across the stage, and they're new, and they're more, and there's new, and then there's more, it plants the seed in my line of sponsorship. You know what? Why not me? Right. Why not me? If they can do it, I can do it. That's you see, but if you're solely relying on the success coming from your line of sponsorship and just your team, you're not going to have the numbers as quickly as you need them to validate the business model.
Right. And it's going to be a lonely road.
And there you go. And that's why the GMTSS is so important. That's it. So that being said, so when you manage your journey, when you're managing this journey from enthusiastic beginner to self-reliant achiever, one, you got to know your level of development. Where are you? Okay. And determine the type of leadership that you need. Okay. I used Dennis. I was lucky. My sponsor was, a great leader. But at the same time, there were times when he couldn't provide me what I needed. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Because you're not going to get everything all the time from one person. So, I might have gotten something in the very beginning, from JR and the Basic Five. Okay. I got things cross the line from Pam and Tony Bowling. Okay. Who had a lot of experience, in this industry and stuff. So I would seek out in the very beginning what I needed from whom I saw that appeared to be able to provide that to me. Okay. And again, that's why the GMTSS is so important, and why you've got to be, you got to get that knowledge, okay, and you got to get it from different people. So again, like I said, it's unlikely you'll have one individual who's going to be able to provide everything you need for that specific quadrant. And most of the time, I was lucky. I had somebody that could provide the vast majority of the time, but not always. And you can get that. You can get it from your sponsor, a senior partner above your sponsor. You can get it from a mentor that might be in a different line of sponsorship. Immediate like a cross line, like Debbie Justice was on Dennis's other side of me. I went to California, did work with her, learn from her. She learned from me. So you could mentoring there. Or an expert outside of the organization. It's just it's your job. You're not, you don't automatically with a startup, okay, right. With a start kit. There's no leader in there.
Right.
You don't get the leader. Because some of us expect, well, my sponsor's supposed to be the leader. Let me tell you what, no, it's your job. It's your responsibility to find the leader that you need. Now, in the beginning, if your sponsor is engaged in the business, doing the business, and you go to meetings, training, seminars, like, whoa, they're saying this, and this. How come we're not doing this and this? Okay, well, maybe you may find out that maybe your sponsor's not that engaged in the business. Okay. Right. That's okay. That's okay. Find a senior partner. Okay. There's going to be a senior partner. That's why in the Getting Started guide, it's important to have all those contacts of the people, in your organization, so you can seek out people. And then in going to the GMTSS, it's an open meeting training seminar system. Is pure genius, by the way. Okay. Yeah. That what JR put there with the GMTSS is absolutely pure genius. That open meeting training seminar system.
Yeah, it enables us more than anything, like to do what's right and do what's needed. Wow. So tie this all up for us, Kevin. Like,
Well, bottom line is, in order to be a good leader, you must first be a good follower.
mhm.
Okay.
This line right here helped me out so much my first year in the business. I remember I attended like a leadership type of meeting with my senior partners, and I had never been in a leadership position before in my life. I was, an introvert, kept to myself in school. But I heard in an audio once that JR said, in order to be a good leader, you must be a good follower. And he just followed so well into leadership, and that kept me going that first year.
Yeah, I mean, you may have been in a leadership role. Okay. In my case, I'd been in many leadership roles, in my previous, work history. But at the same time, I knew I didn't know the environment that I was in.
The other side
And
of
I
it.
was able, and I see there's a big mistake by a lot of people. They're not able to put the ego, their past experience, and realize where you're at is brand new. Okay. I don't care, if you got a PhD or, what your academic background is, and learn something, you follow me? And until you've been around enough to where maybe, you want to seek something else. But the point is in the beginning, whoever's trying to provide leadership, accept it.
Right.
And because that's part of being a good leader, learning. Okay. So to be a good follower, you got to find a good leader. It's your responsibility to seek and find that leader.
Right.
Again, it doesn't come in the fast start kit, and you can't always assume, okay, that it's going to be your sponsor, because your sponsor may not be that active in the business, and engaged. So follow and learn, set the example that you want others to follow. That's the easiest way to lead, is, be like be and do what you would want your teammates to do and be. Okay. But so the first person you got to lead is you. Okay. First person you have to lead is you.
So good. Thank you, Kevin, for this very fun and insightful wrap session about seeking a leader, being a leader. And thank you all for continuing on with our webinar series. This has been an awesome quarter, and we're gonna look to more growth in the upcoming quarter. We're gonna keep this going, but folks, next week, and we'll go to you for some closing remarks after this, Kevin. But next week we will be wrapping up this quarter's sessions with part 2 of our recognition. So we'll be recognizing your success on the year-to-date leaderboard worldwide. Do join us next week, same time, same place for that. With that, I'm signing off. But Kevin, can you close it off for us and put a neat bow on it for everybody?
Well, I would say this: if you need to get to our international convention. I'm gonna tell you, I love Zoom. I love it. I love all this. Lord knows I don't know where we would be. If we did not have it. It allowed us to have some semblance of connection. Keep us engaged with one another. And it's been great, but there's no replacement. There's no replacement, okay, or substitute for actually being at an event live. We're in a relationship building business, and the relationships are really built eyeball to eyeball, knee to knee, okay, elbow to elbow. I mean, that's where it is really built. And the strength of our organizations, the strength of our team, the strength of our businesses is based on how strong those relationships are. And we just had an on-site Chinese boot camp. We've just had we've had on-site conventions in Asia, and for the first time in 2.5, 3 years for some of them. And the excitement, the enthusiasm, the energy, the commitment, and the belief that was generated by the assembly of the people was absolutely priceless. You couldn't put a value on it. It's just something there that you just, it goes from a power, it's exponential power that, it's very hard to, put a price on. So again, be a part of that. You're a contributor. Again, you're an influencer. You will be influencing by just being there. You will be leading by being there. Okay, because you're going to be able to influence many, many people. Okay, so that's my biggest take. Big thing. Set the example. Set the example. Lead by example. And let's have a great major event. All right.
Thank you, Kevin. And thank you, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the session. Good night, everyone. See you next week.